So troubleshooting Python path, Python installation, Jupyter setup. What I've got here is a blank Windows 10 machine. Got nothing on here. Don't even have Python installed. I'm just going to start to set it up ready to do the PDA data science. So if you're on a Mac, the instructions will be kind of similar. Probably need to do a little bit of research. If you're on Linux, you can follow the instructions in my guide, and it's fairly straightforward on Linux. Just Python's already installed, pip install, name of library. So let's have a look at troubleshooting some of this on Windows just now. So first thing I'm going to do is get Python. So I'm going to go to python.org/downloads, and I'm going to download the latest version of Python and just run the executable, and we should get a little installer. Now it's crucial here, okay, to add Python to the path. Alright, so let's just tick that box there. Very important that we have Python in the path, otherwise we're going to get the error Python is not a recognized command or batch file. And then let's just go for install now. So this will install the Python version. So it's Python version 3.10.8, 3.10.8, Python 3.10 version 8. Now, when we're running Jupyter notebooks, we generally launch these from the command line. Okay, and we can install Jupyter with Python using Python pip. So once this is installed, we'll see if we can get Python to run. First of all, we'll see if it's been added to the path as I tick that box there. So let's just wait for, now it does say, look, it's installing pip bootstrap there, so we'll see. Last few these. Now what I'm going to do is, okay, so setup was successful. We might as well disable the path length limit while we're at it and just hit close. Now I'm going to click on start and just type cmd and open up our command prompt, and what I'll do is just make the font a little bit bigger so it's easier for us to see. So font, let's just fire that up to 20, and I quite like it on this sort of, oh no, that's the screen background. I quite like the text on this sort of minty colour here. Okay, cool. Right, so let's just type Python. Right, so Python, that's what that's telling us, is that Python is in our path. Now if we hadn't ticked the box for path, we would have to cd change directory into the system32 folder, because that's where Python lives. But because Python's been added to our path, we can run it from anywhere in the system. So let's just exit Python and let's see if we can run a pip command. So let's do pip install Jupyter Lab. Okay, so that's worked. So it's Python's then going to go onto the internet. Pip is going to go on the internet, Python install package, or Python package installer, and it's going to go and collect the latest version of Jupyter Lab for us and set it up on our machine here. So what we're going to do now is try and run Jupyter Lab and see what happens. And Jupyter Lab should open in our default web browser, so whether that's Edge or Firefox, or in my case here Chrome. So let's just wait for this setup to finish and then we can run the command. So hopefully this doesn't take too long. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one of my notebooks that usually causes some drama with libraries and things on Windows. I'm not sure why, but let me just open up in my Jupyter Lab on my local machine here. Chrome should jump open in a second. Right, let's just drag that over to the other window and we'll try and troubleshoot some of this library issues. So we're going for my maps notebook. So I created a notebook for generating maps using the here map API, and what I'm going to do is move that over onto the Windows machine and then see if we can get that open with Jupyter Lab. So let's go for downloads, and will we just see if it'll drag and drop? Oh, it's dragged and dropped. Okay, that's good. Right, so this is what Jupyter Lab, it requires quite a lot of stuff. So it's went and got all of this from the internet, and we're able to run it. So we'll just clear off the screen here and run Jupyter minus lab. I think we can just do Jupyter space lab as well, but let's just run this. Okay. Now, what's going to happen is Jupyter Lab is going to run in a local web server on our machine. So we need to keep this window open here. Okay, this is just telling us the location that the server is going to run. Right, so we have Jupyter Lab here, so I'm just going to go into the let's go into the downloads folder. Because I launched it from my home directory, there's all the files in my home directory. So if I was to cd into documents and launch it, then we would see everything that was in documents. So the file explorer here, which we can toggle on and off with Control B, file browser, I guess that stands for. So let's just open up the downloads folder here where we've got the Python executable, and let's just drag in this notebook. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the light theme on Jupyter Lab, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the settings and just change the theme over to the dark theme. A little bit easier on the eyes if you're working for a long time. And I'm guessing this seems to have crashed. I have no idea what's happened. Let's just see if it'll sort its life out. I don't think it liked me dragging that file in. We'll try it again. Look, copy. Doesn't seem to be happy about it. I'm guessing it's maybe a permissions issue. Okay. Let's just try restarting then, see what happens. So, has the file copied? So one way that we can kill the server is if we just go back to the command prompt and just do, oh, hang on, did it catch up? It did. Already exists. Oh, right, okay. It was just, I was getting impatient with it, and I was thinking, right, I'm going to kill you and just start you again. Okay, so we got Jupyter Lab open, and here is my Maps API notebook here. Okay, so now what we need to install is some libraries on the machine. So what we actually need is another window, okay, another window of CMD. So if I go here and do CMD, we can open another command prompt. So we still have our command prompt running in the background that's maintaining the web server, okay, and this gives us updates like, look, uploading file, writing notebook started, Python kernel started. So that's running in the background. That's our server that's running, just giving us a like log output from the server. So okay, so we've already tested and verified that pip works because we installed this with pip. So let's try and install the here map widget for Jupyter. So let's just copy that. Okay, we'll go Control C, I think, because if you right click it wants to copy the whole cell. So Control C, and then if we go into our command prompt and just hover over here, we can, okay, this is not going to let me paste, are you? Thank you, Windows. Right, we'll move this down so we can see it. Let's just go pip install here map widget for Jupyter. Okay, and then pip is going to go on the internet and go and get all the stuff that we need to build this. Okay, so let's move down the notebook. So the next thing we need to do is go away and get an API key. Right, get an API key and put it in here. Now I do have an API key, and I guess I could just share it with the world. I suppose it's not particularly important. I could go and disable it later on. So let me just go and grab my API key, which I have somewhere. So let's go MISC data files, regression, maps with my API key. Now, of course, it's going to give me hell for trying to paste into Jupyter Lab. I'm going to go for Notepad, see if that's a bit more forgiving. So let's go Notepad, and I'm going to copy my API key. Now the steps to go and get the API key are in the notebook, okay, so I'm not going to cover that. Let's just cover the troubleshooting. Right, so there's my API key there. So let's go edit, copy, and we'll fire that in here. Hopefully it'll let me paste. Right, and then if we just do control return, we save that. Now, okay, so at the moment, this may be able to generate a map, right? So let's just try and see what happens. So I'm going to run that, and it's going to go to the API, and it's going to send these coordinates, okay, and something should come back. Now, it may take some time to render this. As we saw, it's not exactly a luxury on the RAM on this virtual machine. Let's have a look at the task manager and just see how the virtual machine's performing. Okay, so plenty of memory, plenty of CPU, but we're not getting anything back from the map. We're getting nothing, okay? We're not even getting an error. Alright, so we're going to have to run some installation commands. Now this is usually where kind of troubleshooting comes into play. So let's just start installing these. So we've got GeoPandas. So let's do pip install GeoPandas. Okay, it's going to collect that. Now we're getting an error, okay, and it says this is an issue with the package mentioned, not right. A GDAL API version must be specified. Please provide a path to the GDAL config or a GDAL environment variable. Interesting, and this seems to be an error with. So GeoPandas, so it downloaded it, and then something goes wrong with Fiona, it seems. Now I do remember this happened in the previous course. So let's have a look and see. No, this is an issue with the package, not pip. Right, so let's grab that and right click, edit, copy, and let's fire that into Google. Error installing GeoPandas, a GDAL version must be specified. Okay, so what it's saying is we need to go away and install some of these other things. Now I have detailed them in the notebook, so we'll just go and we'll just work through the installation of these different libraries. I'll just see if I can get the two of these on the screen at the same time. There we go. Right, okay, so let's start with wheel. Pip install wheel. Seems to be happy with that. Right, pip install pipwin. Building wheels, doing stuff, building stuff, doing stuff, installing stuff. Okay, let's I think NumPy might already be installed, but let's just go right. Okay, pip install NumPy. NumPy. Okay, let's do pip install pandas. Now, but a kind of alternative approach to this would just be to download Anaconda, which has a lot of this stuff built in already. But I'm not a fan of Anaconda. I think it's too big. It's a big download. I would rather just have the packages that I need, the ones that I want to do the things I want to do, rather than have loads of packages. But different people, different approaches. Right, let's do Shapely now. So far so good with Shapely. Downloading NumPy again. It's collecting a lower version of NumPy. That's interesting. So now we've got NumPy 121 and NumPy 120. So what that's basically telling me is that this depends on a slightly older version than the latest and greatest version of NumPy. Installing build dependencies. This may be where we run into big dramas. Fingers crossed on this though. While that's running, I'm just going to go back and just run my map cell and see if it works now. Still not generating a map, so let's just continue working our way down this, installing build dependencies. We'll see. Usually, people that are on Macs and on Linux tend to get this working, but for some reason, there's usually a bit of drama on Windows getting this installed. So I thought the best thing to do would be to get a Windows machine and try and do it myself. So here we go. It looks like it's just installing those build dependencies. Just installing them. Just installing. Probably a good point to just pause the video and wait, because I have no idea how long this is going to take. So I'll pick this up once we've completed installing these build dependencies. Right, I've just realised the mistake. So I'm going to Control Shift Z this. Oh. Suddenly decided it was finished. I'm going to Control Z this because actually these are pip-win install. Just realised this. We installed pip-win here, right? And then everything thereafter is, so let's just Control C this. Right, clear. So let's start using pip-win. Sorry, Linux command. Right, okay. So pip-win install numpy. Py-win. Right, okay. Pip-win install numpy. So now we're not using pip anymore, we're using pip-win. As in pip-wins for Windows. While that's installing, it says building cache. Hang on, let me just look at what pip-win actually is. Pip-win is a complementary tool for Windows and installs unofficial Python package binaries for Windows. Interesting, okay. And they have their own website that looks like it's from 1993, but okay, cool. Right, so hopefully this should fix things. Pip-win install all these. Now I'm wondering if we can get some documentation. Pip-win, can we just do, like, can we daisy chain the package installation? Just run them all. Pip-win install and then just list them all out and then just leave it to run. I'm not sure. Right, I'll pause again and we'll come back when this cache is finished building. Okay,